kept you waiting, huh?
Welcome back, Rock Raiders. I'm your host, R.R. Slugger, and today we're taking a look at one of the most industrial buildings in Rock Raiders HQ, the ore refinery. As mentioned in a previous episode, this building originally served the functions now fulfilled by the power station, and vice versa. From a design standpoint, this small factoid will become more and more relevant as we look at the structure together. For now, I would like to go through the in-game functionality and highlight some of the abnormalities in its physical design. As the name implies, the ore refinery is a facility that allows the Rock Raiders to refine pieces of ore into more workable materials. Loading the bucket full of ore will generate building studs, which can be used to assemble other structures with greater ease and efficiency. At one point in development, this was actually required in order to build the larger buildings. As the ore refinery is upgraded, the ratio of ore required to make a building stud becomes more favorable. The physical model, however, has some major issues with accepting Lego ore. The giant brown rock pieces we see throughout the series just can't fit into the space the game asks them to. Tangibly, we can see this work much more smoothly if energy crystals are placed into the bucket instead. Remember, this is what the physical model was built to do initially. You may have to get creative in order to make this structure work for you. The model is situated across 5 different 8x8 bricks in dark gray. 4 of these could be replaced by a pair of 8x16s from the Harry Potter series, but I'll leave that decision up to you. Either method works equally well here. The conveyor system on the front end of the model seems to utilize the same Technic beams as those seen in the granite grinder. This time, instead of moving large mechanical legs, the Technic beams move this bucket towards the hopper. Before we get there, however, we need to take a step back. These Technic beams appear to be the same ones used in the granite grinder. Appear to be. They are not. If we look at the leg assembly within 4940, we'll see that these beams have 7 holes in them, allowing the chassis to remain centered. If we go back to our refinery model from earlier, we'll see that these Technic beams have only 6 holes in them. This conclusion is not only supported by the lack of part overhang in the high-quality renders, but there's even a texture file that spells it out. I've got to admit, I was pretty dumbfounded by all this. To me, it just seemed a given that this model would reuse those Technic elements found in the granite grinder, as there's very little Technic integration anywhere else in Rock Raiders. Yet, the evidence is right here. Undoubtedly, the ore refinery uses half a dozen 6-holed Technic beams in yellow, and these will likely be a pain to track down. In the interest of trying to save you time and money, the beams from the granite grinder could be reused with a minor adjustment to where the bucket assembly connects. Before we move on, I wanted to make note of a few final things. These 2 yellow arrow pieces can be sourced from the Rock Raiders HQ set, but unfortunately these 2x2 tiles in light gray can't be found anywhere else in Rock Raiders. You may have to pull from your larger collection in order to complete this one. As we move to the opposite side, we see this hopper receptacle adorned with tubes and lights aplenty. You may already see some important dark turquoise pieces here, but the much more concerning ones are located beneath the surface. The ore refinery requires 3 4x10 light gray plates, and that can be quite the demanding ask. 4x10 is a rare size for any color, but for plates in old light gray, within Rock Raiders, only the tunnel transport will be of any use to us here, and even then it can only provide a single plate. Maybe you'll be able to come up with some other creative way to cover this 10x12 footprint while still providing enough support to keep the dark gray bricks connected. With that out of the way, let's get to the parts list and build this thing for ourselves. While the ore refinery is rather resource intensive from a rare parts perspective, it's hard to argue with such stellar results. The fun swivel arm mechanism makes for a great play feature and feels more robust than some previous buildings we've constructed. Uniquely, both sections of the structure rest on elevated platforms, granting them a distinct stature unseen elsewhere in the Rock Raiders catalog. Visually, I think the ore refinery integrates into Rock Raiders HQ extremely well, even if the strange arrangement of the fifth 8x8 brick creates a troublesome footprint. There are a couple of odd color reversals between the render and the in-game model that I wanted to make mention of too. The light gray and dark gray colors of these bricks appear to be flipped for whatever reason. Honestly, your guess is as good as mine on this one. There's also an antennae from one of LEGO's UFO sets that ended up here somehow. Totally optional if you're trying to replicate the in-game look. While we're at it, the back of the ore refinery gives us a perfect opportunity to illustrate why the in-game models are such a low priority when reconstructing these builds. As mentioned in previous episodes, the in-game models make many concessions to their accuracy in favor of optimization. Smoothing over details in order to reduce the number of geometric faces increases game performance, but it does make our job harder. With the ore refinery specifically, the backside appears like this in-game. However, it's far more likely constructed with these pieces from the tunnel transport. Remember our list of priorities. These models have shown us time and time again that if pieces from the retail sets can be used, they should be used. In this scenario, the rear section was likely smoothed over in order to reduce the number of visible faces. Even though we can't see this angle of the model from the render, I still believe this is the most likely solution, given the evidence. Overall, I think this is another winner in the series. The ore refinery straddles the line between plausible retail model and janky digital build. If it were to be included in a hypothetical second wave of Rock Raiders, I could see it being paired with another digging vehicle, something similar to the loader dozer. But that's all just imagination now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Our next stop in this series will bring us to one of the most peculiar builds so far. I hope to see you then. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and I'll see you next time for some more high adventure deep underground.